that like button. Make sure you sub to the channel if you are not a member. And also hit those notifications so that you're able to get all of my content as well as all of my videos. Salute to the whole entire LDBC, basketball, and boxing communities. And salute to all of the people that rock with me, my day ones, as well as my new subs too as well. Be sure that you're sharing this video, as they are not getting my videos out there. Share them on all your platforms. You can share them through your phone. Just try to get it out there, because I know that YouTube has been they've been tripping on the notifications, y'all. So uh, nevertheless, man, we're still gonna maneuver, still gonna play the defense that we're playing, and we're still gonna combat the BS that these people try to bring us in terms of the narratives that they're continuing to push, especially by the mainstream media. I hope everybody's feeling all right. First uh, holiday of the holiday season, Thanksgiving. I know people are anticipating having a great day. And if you don't celebrate Thanksgiving, then just have a great day today. And whatever you do, just be safe. Brown Sugar, I see you in the building. Like I said, I hope everybody's feeling good. And salute to the whole entire Lions Den, basketball and boxing once again. Um, Before I get this video started, let me go ahead and give a shout out to the brother Too Raw for TV. If you're not sub to the brother Too Raw for TV, definitely go sub to his channel. He is a historian of the highest order, one of the head honchos of this LDBC community, and his channel will fertilize your brain, so to speak. So definitely go over there and pick up some knowledge and stuff, and also talks about an array of different topics. But in this particular topic, he had brought up an article um, from the Basketball Network, and salute to the Basketball Network too as well. And it had to do with John Starks. If you don't know who John Starks is, of course, uh, he's most notably known for his stint with the New York Knicks back in the '90s, especially when they had those fierce competitive battles, whether it was with the Knicks and the Bulls, whether it was with the Knicks and the Heat, or whether it was with the Knicks and the Indiana Pacers. You know, and John Starks was definitely one of the blue collar, scrappy, uh, hard nosed players uh, that definitely brought it every single time he was on the floor. So um, he was able to speak on Draymond Green. Now, as you know, Draymond Green, as of late, um, he's been having a little back and forth with Kenya Martin, okay, and because Kenya Martin, and as well as a couple of other players, he's had a back and forth with a couple of players as it pertains to him being able to survive in the previous era. Okay, when we talk about the '90s, so to speak. Now, John Starks had basically said that Draymond's his a guy like Draymond is needed, so to speak. You want a guy like Draymond on your team, but he said that some of the antics, a lot of the antics, he wouldn't have gotten away with, um, back when he was playing because guys back then were really going to check you and they were going to test you and see what you were about. And he was basically saying that a lot of it is, just talking, whereas in the previous era, guys were going to, instead of just going back and forth with the talking or whatever, action was going to be put uh, to behind those words that you were saying. And so he said he couldn't have gotten away with some of the things that he was doing or some of the antics that Draymond does. And a lot of people, they tend to see Draymond as like this fake tough guy, stuff like that or whatever. Now, um, John Starks, believe it or not, he actually was giving Draymond his credit on some of the things that he does. And um, I I agree with John Starks 100%. Now, um, back then, Dennis Rodman. Okay, let's just take Dennis Rodman. Although Dennis Rodman, he got it under the skin of a lot of his opponents, and he did little tactics and antics and stuff like that to kind of throw a player off or whatever, and he would do a little talking and stuff like that. One thing you could say about Dennis Rodman, you never seen him get into a fist fight or altercation. Now they probably had a brawl and stuff like that where you know uh, everybody else was involved, but I'm talking about just a one-on-one fist to cuffs. Not that I could remember. You know what I'm saying? Now, of course, you to me a rumble is different because you're sticking up for everybody and everybody's you know getting in, getting their punches and stuff like that. But I'm just talking about like a one-on-one, mano y mano, fist fight battle. You never seen that. I mean, I've seen Magic Johnson. I was talking about this about I think about a couple weeks ago when Magic Johnson had got into a fight with Kevin Johnson. I remember that, and I was kind of shocked by that because you wouldn't expect Kevin Johnson and Magic Johnson to be fighting, but those guys did get into it, and they got into a altercation. So I thought that was very intriguing. But even through all of that, I think that Draymond would be kind of like that in that era. I think that, it would be a lot of talking and stuff like that, just getting pretty much under people's skin. But I don't think that he would, you know, be like a Charles Oakley or be like a Charles Barkley or anything like that. Actually, a fist fight ready to go ahead and just smash your face in and stuff like that. I don't think that he would be like that. Um, but the psychological tactics that Draymond has and players like that, like Dennis Rodman had, they actually do work in a sense because now it can be a blessing, but it can also be a curse as well. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, I don't agree with everything that Draymond does. You know what I'm saying? And I certainly don't like some of the things that he does because it can mess up the team in a way and cost your team a championship. Now, did he help win those championships with the Warriors and everything like that? You'll be a fool not to say that he didn't. You know what I'm saying? But at the same time, there were some times when you'd be like, man, come on, Draymond, that's not needed. And I'm pretty sure they said the same thing. They did the same thing to, Dennis Rodman. There were times when, uh, I'm talking about when Dennis Rodman was with the Bulls, of course. Michael would have to come over there, and Scotty would have to come over there and be like, "Hey, come on, let's chill out with all of that or whatever." But at the same time, Draymond, again, I'll say this again. I've said this in the past too. Draymond is one of them players where you love to have him on your team, but it would be hell to play against him too. You know what I'm saying? He's like one of the players that you wouldn't want to play against. You know what I'm saying? And of course, who had the chance of experiencing that? That was Kevin Durant. But um, and I'm not talking about in terms of his play or anything like that. You know what I'm saying? As far as his play and everything, you entitled to your opinion or whatever. Like, do I think that Draymond is going to sit up there and do what Charles Barkley did or do what Karl Malone? I'm talking about some of the great power forwards and stuff like that in terms of leading the team and stuff like that. No, he's not going to do any of that because that's not what his style is. You know what I'm saying? Is he going to be that main player, you know what I'm saying, coming down, you know what I'm saying, dunking on folks or whatever, franchise player? Nah. But is he a good complimentary piece, a great complimentary piece to somebody else? Yes. He did benefit off of playing with Klay Thompson and Steph Curry. Yes, he did. Um, but also at the same token, they all needed each other. You know what I'm saying? They all needed each other, and I know a lot of people they tend to disagree with that, but they all needed each other, just like Steph needed Klay. You know what I'm saying? Klay needed Steph. You know what I'm saying? Klay needed Draymond. Draymond needed Klay and Steph. You know what I'm saying? You needed other guys on that team. You know what I'm saying? And I'll take it even a step further. They needed Sean Livingston. Hell, you needed Andre Iguodala. You know what I'm saying? Let's just look at it from a team aspect. You understand what I mean? So that's how I look at it. But I don't never try to get into the conversation of, yeah, Draymond could lead a team because he's had his opportunity to lead a team. You know what I'm saying? To be out there, and single handedly, you know what I'm saying, dominate and stuff like that. And of course, um, that just was not his forte. You know what I'm saying? But you have, like I said, you have great complementary players, and you have guys that are able to put the team on their back and do their due diligence and actually carry the team on their back, so to speak, and will their team to victory. You know what I'm saying? But like I said, is Draymond going to pan out in the '80s when they were, scuffling and stuff like that? I don't think that he would be doing any of that. You know what I'm saying? But like I said, this is a different era. This is a different day and time. Uh, like now, let me. Okay, let's just take it. Let's take it to a whole nother direction, right? Let's look at it like this. Me myself, I've been vocal about this. Isaiah Stewart would be a guy to where you could place him in the '80s or even in the '90s or whatnot, and he would go at some guys and he would literally be fighting because that's if anybody is going to be, we're going to sit up here and compare anybody and say that this guy could pan out in the '80s or something like that. It would be a guy like Isaiah Stewart, you know, a guy who I feel like is, rough and rugged. You know what I'm saying? He does his antics or whatnot. Brings physicality, willing to put hands on somebody. And if you don't know who Isaiah Stewart is, of course he plays for the Detroit Pistons. But like I said, man, John Starks is 100% correct. You know what I'm saying? And I did like the fact that he did give he gave his spill on everything and how it was because he knows the rough and rugged, style of basketball that especially the New York Knicks were accustomed to playing. Um, as far as all this situation with Kenyon Martin, I really haven't had an opportunity to really speak on it. But let me just say this, man, about this situation, man. Look, man, both players, and I'm talking about Kenyon Martin and Draymond Green, both players were successful in their own right. You know what I'm saying? And I've had the opportunity to play with Kenyon Martin's cousins. You know what I'm saying? Because Kenyon Martin is from here. You know what I'm saying? He's from Texas. Now I never got to play with Kenyon Martin. Never even formally met Kenyon Martin. But from what I've heard about Kenyon Martin, you know what I'm saying, and from what I witnessed, Kenyon Martin, was that guy. You know what I'm saying. It's just that as far as the accolades and as far as uh, the decorated awards and stuff like that, Draymond has the the edge on Kenyon Martin. But if we're looking at, like, okay, from a style of play standpoint and stuff, more people probably would have suited Kenyon Martin. But if you're looking at it from a standpoint, okay, you want to win championships, you're trying to get to that, that next step and everything, and you don't necessarily have that excitement as that next player, then okay, a lot of people would go for Draymond. You know what I'm saying? Kenyon Martin, though, um, he was able to. Uh, he I think he was an all-star, whatnot. Now, this is another thing too. I want people to understand this too about Kenyon Martin too. Kenyon Martin did suffer some devastating injuries. Now, when I could remember in college, he suffered a devastating injury, and he still was able to come back and still keep his explosiveness. You know what I'm saying? That sort of thing, or whatever. Um, but as far as Kenyon Martin, you know what I'm saying? You're saying, okay, Kenyon Martin could lead a team and all this other stuff. He did while he was at Cincinnati. Man, he was enjoyable to watch at Cincinnati and everything. But in as far as the NBA, he was one of them guys, you know what I'm saying, if it was coming off the rim, you know what I'm saying, real tough, rugged, or one of them type of players, then of course, yeah, you wanted to watch that. But if you were trying to take that next leap and do a whole bunch of different things, you know what I'm saying, stuff that don't get necessarily shown on the stat sheet, then of course, Draymond has the edge as far as that. Uh, Kenya, while he was, he was solid on defense. You know what I'm saying? Don't get me wrong, he was solid on defense. I mean, we gotta. I'll get the edge to Draymond as far as the defense is concerned. And I'm talking about when Draymond was, at his peak or whatever. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, people people gotta stop putting their personal feelings into, okay, yeah, you're not able to break the player down without looking past what that particular guy did. And I'm able to do that. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, I've been vocal about this. Would I want Draymond Green on my squad on the Sixers? I'm talking about when he was at his peak and stuff like that. Hell yes, you know what I'm saying. It's just like a lot of people disagree with me that, oh, you want Dylan Brooks on your team. Absolutely, I'll take Dylan Brooks on my team, because you got to think about it. Dylan Brooks, they were successful with H Town in their own right, when he was over there with the Houston Rockets and stuff. You know what I'm saying? Um, he was successful when he was over there with Memphis. You understand what I mean? You want a guy like a Dylan Brooks on your team. You know what I'm saying? Dylan Brooks does the same thing. You know what I'm saying? Gets under people's skin. You know what I'm saying? Rough, rugged, physical. Now, I don't like the dirty stuff that he did. Like, there was one time when he did that dirty stuff with LeBron James. I think he pushed him in his back or something like that. But I don't agree with that. You know what I'm saying? And I certainly don't want nobody, getting hurt or anything. But as far as a Rough Rider, You need guys like that on your team. And you know, if we're gonna sit up here and we're gonna say, okay, yeah, they celebrate a guy like Charles Oakley. Charles Oakley did some things that some dirty tactics and stuff like that at times to get up under the skins, up under the skin of the opponent or whatever. Andre Drummond. Now he's not known for that, but the other night when he was about to fight Jalen Suggs of the Magic, he did the same thing. You know, Patrick Beverly. You know what I'm saying? Who right now I know Beverly not being looked at in a good light because of everything that's going on. But you needed those type of players on your team. You know what I'm saying? So to me, I don't really necessarily have a problem with it as long as we could just keep on playing basketball and stuff like that. Now, if it becomes like just straight dirty and you're doing stuff to where you could end a guy's career, like taking people's feet out and stuff like that, I don't necessarily agree with that. You know what I'm saying? But you do got to have guys like that on your team. You know what I'm saying? Um, enforcers or whatever. You know what I'm saying? To me, when you think of enforcers, of course, you do think about Charles Oakley. You know what I'm saying? You do think about Rick Mahorn. You know what I'm saying? You think about, guys like that were rough and rugged and tough and didn't mind getting physical with you. You know what I'm saying? But uh, like I said, man, I know I went off the rim a little bit, but I'm glad that John Starks had came out. He spoke on Draymond Green. Now, whether you agree with it or not, you know what I'm saying, that's on you. Like I said, I agree with John Starks. If anybody would know anything about that, it is John Starks. Because John Starks didn't mind, getting in another player's face. He didn't mind getting physical. You know what I'm saying? So, um, y'all let me know what you think, man. Leave your comments. Make sure you like the video, share it, subscribe, hit them notifications too. Straight to the point. Sports and entertainment. Shouts out to the whole entire LDBC. Basketball and boxing. Until then, I'm gone.